How do we get this tip to come around and snap? See a lot of people trying to like hack at their slice serve. Racket speed, you're putting an acceleration on, you're hitting the gas. One of my favorite serves in the world is the slice serve. Slice serve like clockwork. Second serve kick, no ways. And again. If you miss your first serve, no big deal. Do it on the second serve. And if you can't ace, service winner. No service winner, run a play. Tired of going out wide? Well, handcuff. And miss your first serve, do it on the second serve. Hey guys, what's up? It's Coach Steven with the 15 points of tennis. And as you can see from the intro, today we're going to be adding, if it's not already in your repertoire, we're going to be talking about the slice serve. And really how to turn this into a nasty, nasty weapon. And you know what's funny? Like when I grew up, the serve was always the weakest part of my game. The ground strokes came easy, the movement came easy. I always had this unnatural throwing motion. So to get that part of my game up to where it can be used effectively, again, I had to really teach myself both efficiently, effectively, how to use these different types of serves and how to learn these serves, right? Especially if you don't have a natural throwing motion. Because some people can just pick up a ball and they throw great. Some people don't, okay? If you fit into that category, that's me too. Now, the second thing is, I'm pretty short. I'm 5'8", okay? I'm not 6'5" where I can hit these flat serve, bombs down into the court where it's bouncing up with this crazy angle like Ivo Karlovic. No, I have to be able to use not just power, and occasionally I use power, but win with spin, win with direction, okay? And imagine like you're playing soccer, right? And you're really kicking the ball at the goalie. Like, is it more effective to kick it right here into their hands at 100 miles an hour, or to curve it around the goalie right into the corner of the goal, right, with pinpoint accuracy? I mean, look, and kick that ball at 80 miles an hour. So, again, spin, a lot of times you say, oh, is a slice serve just a gimmick? No, it's not a gimmick, okay? Because, again, tennis it's like your energy against my energy, if that makes sense. It's a battle of applying energy at each other and being able to deflect energy and go back and forth, just like boxing or just any other sport, right? So instead of me putting that boom, that energy into velocity, hitting the back of the ball, creating speed, I'm putting that same energy into spin. And that spin, it creates movement, it puts pressure on my opponent, it's still felt on the other side of the court. Get. Now we're going to cover how to really get a proficiently good slice serve in 3 steps. But before that, I want to talk about really how the slice can be used. And there's so much variation and nuance, right? Like I said, it's not just a gimmick where if your opponent figures it out, they can handle it. No, what you can do is what I call a power slice serve, which has less spin, but it still has enough power to get through the court and hurt your opponent and feel heavy. Second one is you can go banana slice, right? Take all the pace off the serve, hit a heavy spin serve. Again, create enough movement so your opponent has a hard time just teeing off on the ball, right? It gives you enough time to recover. You can pull them off the court. You can go slice serve to the body to jam your opponent, open up combos. You can, again, do the classic slice serve where you slice out wide, they're reaching out wide. You open up the court like crazy in ways you haven't been able to do before, whether you can work drop shots, that kind of combo. All right, so don't limit yourself. And look, a pitcher who can throw curveballs and variation of the curveball, and then throw the fastball, you're gonna really have your opponent in a rut. All right, so let's start with step 1. Step 1 is, this might sound very basic, okay, but it connects with step 2 and step 3. So step 1, you need to get your grip right. And I've talked about it before, you have to be in a true continental grip. Okay, there are all kinds of what we call fake grips, and here's what I mean. So, some people call it the handshake grip, but the thing is, you can position your fingers in a way where even when it looks like a continental, people can position their fingers weird or even move their fingers during their motion to get them from hitting spin. See, when you hit the ball and when you swing at the ball, you should naturally be getting some brush on the ball without even trying, right? A lot of people, again, have this pancake serve, and the pancake serve is a limiting behavior, and you can get your serve maybe from beginner to intermediate, but not to advanced. So, look, last thing I'll say about the grip. If you're transitioning from a pancake grip to a grip with spin, it's going to feel super strange for you. And in fact, you have to go a little bit more extreme. You have to feel the extreme of anything. And this is any concept we talk about, okay? Because what feels extreme for you is probably normal. So I suggest, if you look at my grip, you might call this continental. Like, there's so many variations of grips and finger positions. I suggest you even go to a backhand grip when you're learning this. And you're going to screw up unless you follow the second step. Like, now the second step is predicated around understanding how spin works, okay? In order to get the ball to slice, again, we're trying to get the ball to bend here from the right side, if you're imagining you're righty, from the right side of the court to the left side of the court, which means by definition, you need to be brushing the ball from left to right, okay? So what does that mean? So shoulder, elbow, wrist, these are the joints in motion here on my serve. I need to be basically throwing the racket, right? You have my tricep firing from left to right, the pronation firing from left to right to create this snap out this way toward the fence to get the ball to bend from right to left. And understand this on the slice. It's very important to understand strike zone, because you're asked about the toss, and we're going to get into that in a sec. I do a whole thing on strike zones, but watch this. So whenever you hit a slice, or any stroke for that matter, the racket rotates radially, again, around your joints, shoulder, elbow, wrist, right? You see the slice motion from the top of my slice motion to the bottom of my slice motion. This is going to be relevant in a sec, so stay tuned, okay? When I hit a low slice here, I'm actually hitting the inside of the ball. I hit the inside of the ball, and it curves, the ball spins outward. When I hit the slice in the middle position, right here, kind of mid in my strike zone, mid-height, I'm slicing the back of the ball. It's not going to create any side spin like the low slice. There's no side spin here. It's just going to spin backwards because I'm slicing the back of the ball. In the high slice here, because again, look at the racket path. The high slice here, again, because depending on the ball's relationship to my shoulder, I'm slicing out from my left to my right. It's going to create a spin that bends the ball from the outside to in, okay? So when people ask me, like, how do I get my slice to curve in the air? Well, you have to be very cognizant of which part of the ball you're hitting and which way you're brushing the ball, right? Obviously, for the low ball, you're hitting the inside quadrant of the ball, so you can create that inside-out spin. Back of the ball, right, that has no side-to-side movement. It's just pure backspin, right? And that's when it's in the mid-level of my strike zone. And the high ball, and this is the closest thing to the slice serve, is the outside of the ball. So now watch here. At every strike zone position, again, it's because how the joints are rotating and the relationship between each other. The low slice that I'm hitting the inside of the ball here, I make contact very much in front of me, okay? Slightly more back when I hit this mid slice, and even more back when I hit this high slice. And so what is technically a serve? A serve is technically a really high slice, okay, at the very top of your strike zone, all right? And that's why we talk about toss position. When I talk about toss position, if you throw the ball at 10:30 or 11 o'clock, so behind you, there's no way you're going to be able to hit a slice serve. No ways, because you're brushing up, okay? You have to get the toss in a position where you can, again, brush the outside of the ball. Now, to demonstrate, like if you toss a ball directly above your head or behind you, naturally you're going to get a kick instead of a slice, right? When we're trying to learn a slice serve. Now, technically, you can slice that serve above your head, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Notice here, okay, when I throw these next few tosses, as we said, the strike zone moves further back the higher you slice. So look, the relative to the baseline, it's not that much further inside of the court. If it's too far inside the court, you're going to be leaning and reaching, and or you're going to have to pancake the ball, which is a bad thing when you're trying to create spin. So make sure that toss is to the right. You see me snapping out from left to right, and the ball hooking back in. So we're going to roll out into a drill, just teaching you how to hit the different parts of the ball and the correct parts of the ball. All right. So first you're going to have a lower toss. Maybe start with even 2:30, 3 o'clock toss, right? Just to practice, again, hitting this outside part of the ball. Then you're going to toss at 2 o'clock, hit that part of the ball. 1 o'clock here, and then move it all the way up to 12 o'clock, where you can again spin. Again, you can brush the side of the ball. Now, remember, every time the toss moves up higher in your strike zone, you see how it moves back? I see so many players, if you're trying to reach into the court like this, you have zero chance of slicing the ball. If you're hitting the ball too far in front of you, you're going to pancake the ball. It's going to be a flat serve for sure. All right? Just because of mechanics, that's how it works. Now, when you're doing this drill, be very cognizant. One coach describes it as, I know this is very basic, but think like Fruit Ninja, right? You should be skimming the ball, right? Like Fruit Ninja, you should, that's what we call it, like a slice. You should be skimming the ball. So you have less margin at contact here, although it's going to create margin going over the net. Again, if you can get this contact point right, that's one of the hardest things to do. So this is a little bit easier of the two drills, but I think it's a great one to start. And for this one, we're tossing the ball. I mean, so for me, it feels exaggerated when I'm serving. Like I said, it's going to feel exaggerated because you're not used to it. Try to throw the ball 2:30, 2 o'clock, 1:30, 1 o'clock, just so you can feel with ease and isolate the upper body, but you can feel with ease the brush and in hitting the ball and getting even more spin than you would do with a normal serve. So a lot of you guys are probably asking also, because in this drill, again, you're very upright like this, and you're probably making contact, whether it's at 2:30, 2 o'clock, or 1:30, so on the right side of your body, getting the ball to bend. You're probably thinking, well, can't Roger Federer toss the ball in the same place and disguise his serve with the same toss and still hit slice? Absolutely. But watch this. So instead of you making contact here with good posture, all Roger is doing is moving that toss from 2 o'clock to 12 o'clock, and he just tilts back. So when Federer gets into his trophy position, if you want to call it that, right, instead of being upright and making contact at 2 o'clock, he's just tilted back here. He's just tilted back. And so it's that same, you see this? It's that same relationship to his body. But again, he has to be, by definition, brushing the ball from left to right in order to create that spin. So if you want to tilt back, again, I teach, never bend your back. You're going to hurt your spine because your spine crunches and the discs in your spine crunch. You're going to get spinal damage. Okay, don't bend your back, tilt back. In order for me to tilt back, I'm on my toes, I have to stay incredibly balanced, and then I have to engage my core strength here, okay? So that's just if you want to be able to disguise your toss and get a lot of strength from that position. All right, a little freeze cam here. So we took Fed's picture on the right side, turned it 17 degrees. You can see the toss in relation to his racket, and the contact point in relationship to his body is still out to the right. Although you're going to see all these next serves, right, where Fed still tosses at 12 o'clock, but again, because he has that tilt of his body, he can disguise all of his serves, and that's why he's so sneaky good. He is a true magician. Now, here's bringing it all together, okay, and you're going to love this little drill, is most people on the slice serve, okay, because there's so much movement here, they struggle with racket head speed, and racket head speed is the last thing. Once you understand the strike zone, racket head speed, you're putting an acceleration on, you're hitting the gas, all right? So you're slicing out, right, from left to right as we talked about, getting that brush. When we talk about racket head speed, we've talked about this in it's similar to just like any other stroke. Where does the racket head speed come from? All right, most times you see a lot of people trying to hack at their slice serve, and it's going to be spraying everywhere, and it's going to look like they're swinging hard and not getting much juice on their slice serve. That's because they're probably using only shoulder like this, and they're not culminating their energy they're not culminating their energy and the racket head speed at contact. Okay, if I move my shoulder like this, there's not much speed on the racket, right? What creates the racket head speed is in the tip, right? See this tip moving right here? So as you serve, how do we get this tip to come around and snap? Well, we're going to use a drill called stop and pop. And I'll link you to another video later where we're going to go much deeper into stop and pop. It's going to help you tremendously on your serve. So we're going to practice tossing and then bang, stopping, boom. Try to stop it as best you can. It doesn't look perfect. It won't necessarily stop right at contact, but we're bang. See how if I stop my racket here, my hand here, it forces the tip to come around rather than just swinging through with my shoulder. So we're going to practice that. Now don't do that in a match, but do this enough times. Practice the stop and pop drill on the slice where you can get the contact point perfect, where you can get the energy focused, and then obviously in a match you're gonna swing through, right, for more margin of error and overall racket head speed. So you're not going to do stop and pop in a match, but this drill is going to, and learning the timing for this, and if you're not getting the timing right, if you're not getting enough power, keep doing it. If you're not getting enough power, it probably means you're reaching or your strike zone's not in the right place. So this is the best feedback for you to learn how to snap your slice serve. So this is one of the best drills you can do for just about any stroke, okay? But today we're going to focus on the slice serve, obviously. Now, on these serves, I'm actually trying to stop my racket right at contact, what I call stop and pop. But it's very hard actually, and there will still be some follow through. Now this next serve right here, you can tell from just by the sound of it, just by the look of it, you see how I was tense when I hit some of those serves, like this, like some of these, where I'm a little tense with the upper body. You can tell the contact point isn't perfect. So every time you hit serves, again, you're refining that contact point. And what stop and pop does, if you're stop and popping like that one was pretty good, if you're stopping and popping correctly, you can actually get some decent power. Now when I go to serve like normal, again, your contact point will feel so much better. Again, that's a little too much, a little too flat. Trying to get a little bit more spin, so that was pretty good. Alrighty. That one was a really good one where the contact point was perfect. I got the right amount of spin to power ratio. I was really happy with that last one. So these are the tools really to get started using the slice serve, and it's been so effective for me. Again, not being the tallest player. And last thing I want to mention, look, when you practice this stop and pop right here, okay, or just on any of your serves, whether it's kick serve, flat serve, there's a lot of people, and I have to mention this, just being ethical and moral, all right? A lot of people, when they pronate, they break their wrist. You see this wrist broken, cocked, neutral, broken. It's got to go from cocked to neutral, right? And nothing past neutral. It should never break. Once it goes to neutral, then the forearm should turn over like this instead of break. Do you see the difference? All right, so that's why I love the stop and pop, because you practice, boom, not breaking your wrist, and after you stop here, then the racket comes down, all right? But you've already struck the ball. You shouldn't break your wrist. If you start hitting the ball consistently while you break your wrist, you know, very bad things can happen, whether it's injury or, I mean, also instability in your shot, which is the lesser of the evils. Okay, so thanks so much for watching. I hope you found this truly valuable. Okay, something you're going to really work on the next time you hit a bucket of serves. Now, please hit that subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner. It helps the channel out so much. You don't even know. And then, you know, again, the more that you help the channel out, the better job I can do pushing out content for you guys. All right, look forward to your feedback in the comment section below. Look, let me know how you're using the slice serve. Are you running combos off it? You know, any comments you may have, love to read them. Thanks so much. We'll see you on the next video.